Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel Learning Pocket. So in the previous video we have seen how to add data to the database. We have posted one job data from the Postman to the MongoDB. Okay, so let me just go to the mongodb.com, and here is my one data which I have pushed through the post API right from the Postman. Now in this video we will going to see how we can fetch this data, okay, and how we can edit this data and how we can delete this data, right? Basically we are completing all the CRUD operations in this video, right? So let me first go to the code part and let me start my server npm start, and I have added one route for getting the data. I have added one route, so let me uncomment it. This is for getting the data, router.get/jobs, right? So this is the get API call for getting or fetching the data from the database. So I have added one route, router.get, and this is for /, and I have named the controller for this API to be get jobs. Okay, so let me quickly go to the job controller.js and let me create one controller for getting the job. This is, let me comment one, to fetch the data from Mongo. Okay, sorry, Mongo. Okay, export const get jobs, and this will be and let me add try and catch for handling the error, and in the error I'll simply response.status okay, delete this, and then response.status 404, then .json, and message to be error.message, right? And I have to include request and response here, request and response, as I'm using response, and I'll also use request. Okay, so now this will be async await call for fetching the data, so I'll have to add async, and here I'll just simply write two lines of code. One is simply await, then jobs.find, and this is basically what it is searching from the jobs table. Okay, and if I am not using any parameter, then it is giving me all the data. It is just giving me all the documents that are available in the MongoDB, right? So let me add this to a variable named const jobs. Okay, await jobs.find, and then simply I'll response it. I'll simply show the response.status. This is 200, and in JSON format I want jobs, right? Let's test this, and I have to call it in the routes.js get jobs, and let's test this out. And I'll in the Postman I'll simply go to this get API. I'll have to simply write this URL, http localhost :5000/jobs/. I have made the router for slash, so after jobs, and I'll simply say slash, I'll send the API call, and I'll get the data right here. Okay, so my fetching API is working perfectly. Now I want my data to be fetched by ID, unique ID. This is a unique ID in every document. This ID is given by the MongoDB itself, so I want to fetch the data from this ID. Okay, so I simply just add one route, router.get, and I'll add the route to be /ID, and I'll use the name of controller get job by ID, right? And I'll simply make one job controller here, fetch job by ID. I'll write export const job by get job by ID, and I'll write request comma response. Then I'll use try and catch block for handling the error. Okay, and I'll simply response the error, response dot status 404 dot json message to be error dot message. Also we will have to use async and await, so I'll simply write async here and await. Now I'll make the call. I'll have to search in jobs dot find not find by id, and I'll pass the parameter as a request dot params dot id. Okay, so this is what I am passing the id from the parameters of URL using request method. Okay, so this is a request dot params dot id. Okay, and I am finding by id in the jobs table, and this is await call, and I'll have to store this in a variable const job is equals to this, and I'll simply return the response dot status doso, then dot json and job. Okay, now let's test this API. I have to call it here, get job by id, and let's test this out. So I'll simply go to this, and I'll have the URL of http localhost / job / and then I'll copy paste this id, copy, and then I'll paste it after job / and then I'll make the call, and it will give me the data according to the id which matches from the desired document that I want to fetch, right? So this API is also working perfectly fine, that is getting job by id. Okay, so now we will have to make for deleting the document. Okay, so we'll have to simply add it by router dot delete, and again I am fetching the document by using id method. I'll have to delete that particular document whose id matches from the request that I have sent, right? From the I want to delete that document which matches with my document in the database, right? So delete job, I'll name it as delete job, and I'll have to make the job controller also. So deleting the job, I'll simply export const delete job and request comma response try catch block, right? And then I'll simply response.status 404 and .json message error dot message, right? After that, now but only I have to delete, so I'll have to use again async and await, as this will also be async await call. So await jobs dot delete one, I have to call the query delete one, and in this I have to pass one parameter. And what is this parameter? That request dot params dot id if it matches with which underscore id. What is underscore id? Let me show you. This is underscore id which is generated by the mongodb, the id which is generated by the mongodb. If my request matches with this id, then simply delete this document, right? And then I have to give some response also, to response dot status and 201 and dot json. Then I'll simply post the text job deleted successfully, right? but I won't test this API as I have only one document, so I'll have to again create one more document. So I'll test this after the update method, right? So let's test this API after one more API call. So I'm just saving this, and let's call this in routes. Okay, delete job, right? I'm not getting any error. I think it will work fine. Now I'll make one more API call for editing the document in the MongoDB. So I'll simply make router.put. I can edit using router.put method, and I'll again fetch the data using ID, and I'll simply use the controller name as edit job, right? And I'll simply import it here also, edit job, and I have to make the controller now edit the job, export const, then export const, then I'll have to use edit job, then request comma response, then try catch block. Okay, response dot status 404.json message. I think you are getting what I'm trying to do basically. Error.message. You have to write this try and catch block in every controller or every function you want to use for fetching or for an API call, right? So this is my catch block. Before this, I have to first find the document which I want to edit. So I'll using let job is equals to await. I'll have to use async await. So async here and await, then jobs dot find by ID, and I'll use request dot params dot ID, and I will pass the data. I will pass the new data that I want to edit using request. Okay, so from the body I will request it. So job is equals to request dot body, right? And now I'll go in the try block, and I'll have to simply update it, right? So I'll go to await jobs dot, I'll use the query update one, right? And I'll use update one, and I'll pass the parameters as underscore ID if matches with my request dot params dot ID, and I want to update what? I want to update the job, right, that I'm getting from the request dot body. And then I'll simply response dot status 201.json job updated successfully. Don't mind me if I'm making any spelling mistake. Okay, sorry. Successfully. And let's save this, and let's save this too, and let's test this now. Okay, so I'll simply use this API, right, localhost / job / and this is the ID of the document of whose data I want to update, and I'll have to import this content type as application JSON in the headers, and in the body I have one data. So I'll simply change it to mon stack using let's do this as mean stack, right? And this is also a mean stack, and then I'll simply send it, and let's say this say that job updated successfully, and let's just go to the MongoDB and just refresh it, and then it will be reflected here also. Okay, this is mean stack now. And now let's test the delete API. So let's test this out. So I'll have to simply go to create one as delete, and I'll have to simply copy paste the URL, this one. Okay, control V, and then I'll simply send this, and this says the job deleted successfully. And now I'll refresh the MongoDB, and I don't have now any document right now. Okay, so I don't have any document. So our every query is perfectly running fine, right? So we have made these routes as router.get for getting the jobs, all jobs, router.post for adding the job, router.get job by id, for delete, and for editing the job. So we have all performed for CRUD operations like create, update, read, and delete. These are the CRUD operations which we have to learn in this series. So this is all about the backend. Let me first check one more thing. Okay, I have used course. Okay, so this is all the backend. Now from the next video we will see how we are dealing with how we deal with the front end, and how we can made all API requests from the front end. Okay, so hope you have understood everything that I have told in this video and in the previous videos of this backend. Now from the very next video we will be starting with the React, and we'll see how React works, and how we can make our front end part. Okay, so if you like this video, do hit the like button, and if you find or face any difficulty in this video or in any of the previous video, just feel free to comment down below. We will definitely help you out there. And if you haven't subscribed our channel, please subscribe it, and do press the bell notification so that you get the recent updates. And do share this with your friends also, so that they can be benefited from this series, as this is very awesome series and you will definitely learn a lot from this. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.